Almost. Good. So welcome everybody. Good morning. We're learning Sicha, Pashas Pinchas, 1991 from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Talks about being present. Talks about the preparation for something, for a mitzvah, for doing something good. The preparation also has its own holiness to it, and therefore it also needs to be done with your full engagement, full presence, not in a rush to get to the next thing. Okay, be 100% there. And talked about doing mitzvahs with thought, speech, and deed. Every mitzvah has the intent in it, which is the thought. You have the blessing you say in the mitzvah, or there's some sort of articulation when you do the mitzvah of speech, and then there's the deed of the mitzvah. And there's some mitzvahs that are more in thought, more in speech, more in deed, but they all can include everything, which would be doing it full. And therefore, the Rebbe was talking about how when the Jews were preparing to go into the land of Israel, which was the mitzvah of conquering and settling the land, that is a mitzvah, then they had the preparation part, which was to divide the land when they were still in the desert, which is this week's Parsha, also had to have in it something special. First of all, it had some miracles to it, and the miracles were important for it to have all aspects of thought, speech, and deed. So the speech part of the miracle, the speech part of the mitzvah of the Bais Chana of the land was that the lottery itself spoke and announced it when they picked up the ticket for one tribe and they picked up the land that it was going to be his portion by the lottery. The actual girl said, "I'm the girl, and I was chosen for this shevet, for this tribe, for this piece of land." So there was an extra miracle over there, so that the mitzvah would also be happening in speech. So we talked a little bit about communication yesterday, and the Rebbe does talk about the. You remember what we said? What the Rebbe said about communication? How communication verifies and shows the truth, and that you are really fully done, really the mitzvah, or fully, completely managed to affect yourself and others. Right? Speech shows that you actually had an effect on others because you're able to communicate it. So being able to communicate what you're engaged in is also Even Habochen, the Rebbe calls it. It's like how did I translate Even Habochen? It's what discerns and proves that what you're doing is really truly real and full and complete, and you're really there, present, and it's affecting yourself and others when there's the expression in speech. So that was part of yesterday. Is there any other points that I forgot? I'm sure there was more things. Yeah. So he talked more about also that everything that we're doing throughout the generations and preparing for times of Mashiach, and especially said now that we're really on the doorstep of Mashiach, we're like right any second, any moment, we're already entered into the next stage of Mashiach. So therefore, all the preparations, so that everything that we do when there's darkness or when there's exile, every moment counts, and every moment is just as important in time and in place. Wherever we are, even if we're not in the Holy Temple, wherever we are in terms of time, at the end of we're at the end of the exile, or we're at the threshold of Geula, whatever it is, whatever we're doing now is so important and extremely important. And it's even if it's, let's say, just a preparation for the next revelations, it's very important. It's extremely important. And not only that, the Rebbe said that it has its own holiness, and not only that, when we have that engagement of the holiness in this moment, that brings about that we will have the full and complete revelations of Geula and Mashiach. Because, okay, do you remember try to remember, what did the Rebbe say about that? About making here Israel? Like, right, the Chassid asked the Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek, if he should go to Israel or not. And the Rebbe Marash, in the name of the Tzemach Tzedek, the Tzemach Tzedek said, make here Israel. So, meaning to bring the holiness of into this moment right here now. So the Rebbe explained everything that we do, even if it's in the darkness of Galus, it is making the vessel of Israel here, and that's what's going to enable Israel to eventually spread out to all the countries of the world. Meaning Israel, it says the holiness of Israel is going to spread out to the whole world in times of Mashiach, and that's being done and created by us now, doing our holy work here now, with the intent that this is all part of the process of Mashiach coming, and we are transforming ourselves and the world around us, making it a vessel for the godly revelations of Mashiach times. Okay, so that was like just conclusion or something.
I have a story to tell if you want to
Yeah.
hear a short little tiny story. Do you want it from yesterday?
Sure.
Okay, so I was toiveling. I had some things to toivel, and we have Lake Michigan here. So it's only a block from us.
Wow.
So I walked there with my dishes, and I got there, and it's 4th of July, and there must have been 5,000 people there lined up on the beach. And I thought, now how am I going to toivel in Lake Michigan with all these people? So I walked till the people got sparse, and then they pretty much ended except for walking people. Okay, so there I am, and I'm toiveling, and I'm toiveling my back to the crowd, not a crowd, and somebody says, "What are you catching?" So I got up, I stood up, I turned around, I looked at her. She's like maybe 60s. I said, "Are you Jewish?" She said, "Yes." I said, I wondered when somebody would ask me, but anyway,
Yes.
So I said, "I'm toveling," I said. And she said, "What's that?" I said, "Well, you get in the dishes and then you dip them 3 times and lake mikvah." She said, "Oh my gosh," she said, "my mother used to do that in Lake Erie."
Wow.
And she said, "Oh," and she got so excited. She said, "I can't wait to go home and call my brother."
I have chills. That story never happened to me.
Yeah, you probably don't go to the lake.
Still, no, but still, that somebody. Yeah, I don't go. I go. There's a mikvah, total mikvah here, but I have done it like in Australia and in the ocean or stuff. Yeah. Wow. What amazing that she had a mother who did that.
Isn't that amazing? And in the Great Lake, like in the Lake Erie.
Wow.
So
beautiful.
Yeah, and that she remembered it, and that she got so excited. I could just see her imagining it. She could hardly contain herself.
Beautiful. Wow. I hope you got her number.
I didn't actually. I thought of that afterward. I did ask her name. I got her name, but that's all.
Okay, you were so present in the moment. Oh my gosh.
But it came from this, spread, show the truth.
Yeah.
Talk, do, be
It was
visible.
it was meant to be for that moment. Okay. Wow. So we're up to paragraph 11. Okay, talked about there's 2 aspects of making here Israel, to make the moment, the present moment significant. So one is to like make here Israel, is to bring in this moment and in this place the land of Israel, the whole completion of the Geula. Just like a pnimi, a person who's focused on his or her inside, brings the wholeness of each detail of their service, even if they're brings it to their fruition, fulfillment, even if it's just a preparation. So if we're just like getting dressed in the morning, we're just cleaning the house. I took it for the organizing the house, which I want to do more today. I didn't do enough yesterday. But it's okay. All these things that we're doing as prep are have holiness to them, and they're part of their. He says a pnimi, a person who's focused on the inside, is putting their whole selves into it, to all the details of, even if they just seem like they're not as important, not as significant, they're just a prep, but they're part of it. Now, the next thing that he says is that this makes us also used to the Geula. When we're like treating this moment, that this moment is bringing Geula, and this moment is so important, right? This we do completely and wholly without speech and deed. And that actually brings the Geula, when everybody will actually be in Israel, simply put, like physically, right? The land of Israel will spread to the all of the nations all over the world, and because we did our service here now, making this place holy. So there's, I don't know if I cut 100% the nuance of the difference between the two things, but there's something very significant in being present, even if it seems like at this moment I'm not doing something so significant or so holy or so important. This moment is, like we said, the Rebbe brought the examples of when you did certain mitzvahs in the Holy Temple. The preparatory part for the mitzvah was just as holy, or had its own holiness, its own level of holiness, and it could invalidate the whole service that came afterwards if they didn't have the right intention. So if the Kohen wasn't thinking properly, that his intentions weren't focused on what he was doing, that this is part of the mitzvah of the service in the Holy Temple, it invalidated not only the preparatory stage of the mitzvah, but even the actual part of the sacrifice itself that he'd bring later. So everything that we're engaging here, the Rebbe says, at every moment and every place, no matter where we are, what moment we are, is extremely significant, and not only makes our service right here now more whole and complete, it also makes the service of the future, also more whole and complete. Okay, so maybe that's the two nuances. One is that right now, this present moment, we're elevating our whole connection to God to a much higher level when we're fully present. And it also makes it a vessel that the future revelation is the future, when God will fully be revealed, he won't be concealed and hidden in the world. Those revelations will also be all in every place, all around the world, to everyone, much more greatly than, because we prepared the world and we prepared ourselves. Okay, so let's continue. 11. עניין זה נמצא בהדגשה הייתה בכך שבשנה זו בשבת פרשת פנחס שבת במחלת חלוקת הארץ היא גם שבת מברכים חודש מנחם אב שחל בשנה זו ביום שישי בשבוע. So it says this Shabbos, and I don't know if it's in our, I don't think in our, by us right now this year it comes out the same, but this Shabbos Parshas Pinchas, when the Rebbe said this in 1991, it was also the Shabbos that blessed the month of Av, Menachem Av, the following month. But this year it doesn't come out like that. I don't believe so. Even though in the Torah the month of Av is called Av, but the minhag, the custom is to call it Menachem Av, the comfort of Av. Why do we add the word Menachem, comforting or comfort? And we start it with the comfort, the Rebbe says. We don't say Av Menachem, we say Menachem Av, the comfort, and then we say the name of the month. So the Rebbe gives his own chiddush, Yesh Lama. One of the reasons you could say maybe for this, the Rebbe doesn't say maybe, but he says Yesh Lama, we could say. So it's the Rebbe's innovation here. Since the name Menachem, it alludes to the comfort of the time of the Geula. That is the real purpose of the downfall, the Yerida, or the descent of that we go through in the Chodesh Av, in the month of Av. The month of Av is the month of the destruction of the temple, right? We have Tisha B'Av, but the Rebbe says we put Menachem first before we say Av. Why? Because the comfort of the Geula is really the whole purpose, the whole goal of the descent that we have, the experience that we have in the month of Av. So that it comes first, really. Okay, so here's the Rebbe saying again, the preparation for the what we have to go through is really just it's a preparation, but okay, I'm not going to associate that here. Let's just skip it. Let's go to what the Rebbe says. Menachem, Geula, the comfort of the Geula, it's the first thing that comes before we even start going down the descent of into the month of Av. First we have comfort. The rabbis say that when God created the world, it says, the verse says when it describes creation, that the spirit of Hashem, of God, Elohim, was hovering over the face of the waters. And the rabbis say, what's the spirit of God, of Elohim, that's hovering? The rabbis explain that the beginning of creation already, there was the spirit, the ruach of Mashiach. because already at the beginning there was this spirit of Mashiach, because the Geula is the foundation and is the true intention of everything, of all creation. Okay, so that's why when creation is being described, right at the beginning, it mentions that there's a spirit of Mashiach, and the rabbis say, because the whole purpose of creation is for Mashiach times, and for Mashiach, and for Geula. That's the true intention of everything being just even created to begin with. Gam shel av milashon shorosh hamakol, avihem shel kulam, hamakol lekol העניינים, גם ענייני קדושה, ויש לומר שזה נותן אחר כך את הכוח שכאשר באה ירידה בחיצוניות לפי שעה, יוכלו לגלות בה שכל עניינה הוא לא רק הקדמה לדבר אחר, אלא זה גופה הוא עניין העלייה, מנחם שבזה. כידוע שעניין הגאולה מורכב מגאולה בתוספת א', כיוון שעל ידי הגילוי דרכו של עולם בגלות עצמה נעשה זה גוף הגאולה. So this is a theme that we can see by the Rebbe, that he tries and brings it out in many different ways in different sichas in 1991-92. That when you look at the, right, we learned this about the 17th of Tammuz, the fast day, that the Rebbe says there's the inner dimension of the fast day, the outer dimension of the fast day. The outer dimension of the fast day is we fast and we mourn, and we, right? The inner dimension of the day is that it's really a day of will before God. And it's a day where we're coming close and we're doing tshuva and we're elevating ourselves because we're preparing, and the whole purpose of the destruction was only for the rebuilding afterwards. It's like knocking down a building so you can build a bigger, better building. So we're not actually just, the point of the day is not to just mourn and think about the past and be sad that, and try to go back to what we had before. The point of the day is to anticipate and prepare for the bigger building and the bigger revelations, and to know that the true intention of whatever we're going through, all the pain and suffering that we've gone through, is only as a preparation for the coming Geula and the coming rebuilding that's coming. So the focus is to look forward and to know that what the inner intent of the day is. So here also, here he's saying the whole, when we put the word Menachem before the word Av, we know that the source, right, Av means beginning or head or beginning of things. So the Rebbe says Av really means a source, it's a source and a beginning for everything, even holy things, not just the unpleasant things that happen in the month of Av. So the Rebbe says, Yesh Lomar, when we put Menachem first, before the word Av, the Rebbe is giving again a chiddush. This gives us afterwards the power, the strength, that when we have a descent and we go down, and it's only, the Rebbe says in parentheses, it's only an external descent, and it's only a temporary descent, we can reveal in that descent that the whole purpose and the whole reason that we've descended is it's not just so we can prepare for something later on, but this whole purpose of this descent right here, right now, its purpose is the elevation. And it's the menachem in it, it's the comfort that's in it. Meaning that this Indian, like the Rebbe says, we know that Geula has two aspects to it. It has the word Gola, exile, and when you add an aleph to it, it has Geula, which is, the aleph is Hashem, right? We bring the aluf of the Hashem consciousness into the galut, into the exile consciousness. Then we transform it into Geula. So that's what they were saying. When we're in galus and we're experiencing pain, or we're experiencing destruction, or we're experiencing loss, God forbid, or descent, or sin, or whatever it is, we're feeling far and distant. The point is to put the Menachem first. Remember that bringing godly consciousness, bringing Hashem into this moment is the whole purpose of this moment, and this purpose of this reason is to be godly conscious, bring the revelation, live a more higher consciousness, that this is just all part of bringing about the Geula. So that makes it a rebirth. That makes it a revelation of what the inner reason for this descent was, not just to stay stuck. The inner reason was so they could propel us to higher levels and to more revelations of Hashem within us and within the world. So that gives us the strength to actually make it a good moment and make it a good revelation within us and within the world. So now we're up to B'Mdeinu B'Shabbos Mevarchim. The Rebbe says now we're standing right before the Shabbos that blesses the month of Av, Menachem Av. The Shabbos is blessing it, right? Nimtzat B'Galui, we see revealed. Od Yoter, even more, the Kavanah Pnimit, the really true intention, the inner intention of the situation of Galus here, Kan. כידוע שבשבת בכלל ובפרט בשבתות הבין המצרים נמצאת בגלוי עלייה שישנה בזמן זה בשנה. וזה נותן תוספת כוח לפעול עשה כאן ארץ ישראל להביא את גאולה בגאולה. So he says when we're in Shabbos, so we are in Shabbos mode, and we have the comfort, right, of Shabbos, and we have the holiness of Shabbos, and we have the elevation of Shabbos, so it's easier to see on Shabbos the inner intention of the true intention, which is the inner intention of the Gola, of the exile. And it's easier to get this energy and the strength to affect that will make Israel here, will make this moment and this place into holier place, like Israel. The Gula, to actually bring the Gula into this Golos moment, into this exile moment and place. Let me see who joined. Sherry, I don't know you, but you're welcome to ask a question if you want to, or you need to ask something or want to ask something.
No, just wanted to say hello.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I'm here in Thornhill.
Thornhill,
Ontario.
Ontario.
I'm in Canada. Where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Oh, I'm in Toronto. I'm in the Toronto area.
Very nice. Welcome.
Are you by Lake Erie?
No, Lake Ontario.
Oh, okay.
I'm in the Toronto Thornhill community.
Okay.
Oh, fantastic. How did you hear about the class?
It was on the Neshei Chabad WhatsApp group.
Oh, very nice.
In Toronto. Somebody in Toronto has been advertising here for you.
Oh, fantastic. Maybe it's
Neshei Chabad. Yes.
Maybe Alyssa. So good. So this is not exactly my class. I'm a substitute. This is
oh, I see. Okay. I just thought I would start preparing today. So today's the day I'm starting to prepare, and here I am with you.
I'm glad you joined, and it's nice to meet you. So Nechamadina Siebel usually teaches the class, and she's out of the country. So I don't know how many more days I'm doing it, but
right.
Okay. Well, let's yes, welcome. Okay. Now, where are we? We have like one more paragraph to finish chapter 11. So now in our generation, in our times, something else is added to our times and our generation. I've always connected everything he was saying to time and place, and then even more in time and place in our generation. And that's how he did in the later years, especially what's going on. It's very, very special what's going on in our times. And he connects also how that day that he's speaking is auspicious. I've always found something in the time and place, and he said we need to do that too. Every day, every moment is important. Every place that we're in is important, and to try to connect the lesson of the day for that moment and that time that we're in. So he's connecting it to that day to the upcoming month of Av, Menachem Av, the Rosh Chodesh, which is in that year was coming out on a Friday of that week. And on Fridays, it's known that God created first Adam, first man, Adam Arishon, Adam and Eve. And why did he it says why did he create him like on the sixth day? Why didn't he create Adam first? Was because he first created the world so that he'd have everything ready, right? The heavens, the earth, the fish, the seas, the animals, the plants, everything. And then he created Adam, everything, Adam Rishon, everything was ready. So now, so Rebbe says, similar, we're now already in the 6th millennia, the 6,000th, right? We're 5,783 years since creation. So we're in the 6,000th millennia. And it's parallel to the 6th day of creation. And at this time, we're on the eve of Shabbos meaning in the 6,000th year, we're at the latter half of the millennia. We're 5,783. So that's past the 5,500 mark. We're getting very close to the end of the 6,000 years, which the seventh millennia is the times of Geula for sure. We can bring it in early. We can bring Asher and the times of Mashiach before its time, but for sure by the time we get to this year 6,000, the whole world will already be there in that state of Geula.
7,000
consciousness, the 7,000th year, yeah. But we start tasting it now, and we can already live with that consciousness right now within us, and bring that into the world, and bring it in Asher at our time. And so we're now it's like we're on the Shabbos Eve, like Friday afternoon after midday, in terms of paralleling it to the 6 days of creation, the year that we're in. And the Rebbe says, according to all the signs of the times of Geula, we are now already mamish by the Geula and by the redemption. The Kfisho as the previous Rebbe announced and publicized, and declared. The Frierdiker Rebbe said, we finished everything necessary. The Rebbe says we also finished even polishing buttons. We finished even being standing prepared. We're really, really ready for the highest revelations of God. We're already ready to come and taste the revelations of the times of the Geula, because we're already there. We're here. Mashiach is coming, or came, or coming. Take it from me, Mamish, immediately. Now. So, like, we're already there. It says we're not in the state of like we have to really think that one day in the future it's going to happen. We're ready right now for these greatest revelations. Paragraph 12. Since the Geula didn't come at this moment, and with divine providence, we're still here in this place, in this time. We have to for sure take and utilize this instruction and keep the instruction that said, make here Israel. Like it said before, we said before from the Tzemach Tzedek, the Rebbe Marash, make Israel here, right? So what do? The Rebbe says in the Kabbalah call to actuality. Since this is an instruction that the previous Rebbe announced and publicized, before that, only very lucky few people were able to knew about this, about being able to make here the holiness of Israel. So, but the previous Rebbe announced it that everybody could know that we could do this. We know that this is now instruction for all the people of the generation that are connected. Everybody's connected to the leader of the generation, the previous Rebbe. And and the Rebbe quotes again, Hanasi hu hakol. The Nasi, the leader, is everything. He includes everybody. We're all connected to the leader, whether we know it or not. Our souls are connected to the leader. And we have an instruction to make Israel, make the holiness here, right now. So it shouldn't be so hard for people who have to leave Israel and come to Shlichus in America to make the holiness right here and right now. Okay. I don't know if it's not so hard, but there was saying we can do it. Okay. In actuality. Okay, so that we said. When we're in these weeks that we read in the Torah about the inheriting the land, dividing the land of Israel, like they did right in the desert before they entered the land of Israel, like we're reading in this parsha. Since now we're in a time that we're all ready for this, the meal, in quotes, the spiritual meal, which they say is going to be a physical meal also, but we're all ready for the revelations of the Geula, and we're already at this threshold. We're at the end of, we're at the Saf, we're at the threshold of the Geula, and we're at the on the division of the land of Israel. In actuality, where it will be divided, so each person has to add more in their service. To make this place that we're in right now into Eretz Yisrael, into the Holy Land. Every person, women, men, children, men, women, children, in their place and in their situation that they're in. Okay, so there's no such thing, well, I'm too far, or I'm not in the right place or time. Like I missed the ball, God forbid. No, nobody missed the train. To do it fully and wholly. The machshava dibur masa, with thought, speech, and deed. Through this, we get accustomed and used to, right? We're training ourselves to be in the situation of the true and complete redemption, like we explained before. Okay, so there's the two aspects: the aspect of just living fully and wholly at the moment, because that's what we do as Chassidim. We know, right? We connect ourselves to Hashem, giving us life force at this moment, creating us from nothing to something, which takes the power of God's essence, so we can connect to God's essence, our essence to God's essence at every moment by living with this consciousness. And that's what I said yesterday. And then there's the second stage, or the second benefit of it, is that we actually make ourselves prepared and make the world prepared for the actual revelations of the Geula, that because we're a vessel that's tuned in and ready for it. Okay? And holy. Okay, so it's important not to get caught up in side things that distract us from our real focus on what, the time and place that we're in, and making it holy. Okay, so that's chapter 12. If anybody has a question, you can ask. Now, each and every Jewish person has their portion and their shlichus, their mission. In a world that Hashem has given him. One is a Bal Esek. What's a Bal Esek? He's a businessman. Another one, his job is to learn Torah. He's like a Yisachar. Like there's different people have different aspects of what they're engaged in. And in each, and etc. There's other people who are, laborers or whatever it is. Different people have different jobs. And in this itself, each person has their own shlichus, their own mission, right? Their own purpose. Everybody has their own talents, their own desires, their own connections, their own way of doing things, right? Their own personality. And every person has their own portion in the world that to there Hashem took him. Hashem, right, by divine providence, Hashem put him in that place from above. Since his mission is specifically in this place. So it's really important to say, well, maybe I should be, not to say, well, maybe I should go somewhere else, maybe I should be somewhere else. We need to focus more. The Rebbe says, I'm being present in this place at this time, that it's been recognized that by divine providence, I'm here right now, here, because I have a mission right here, right now. Okay? Not to be detached, okay, to be fully present. And this also the Rebbe attaches to time, right? So that he said about place, that we're supposed to be in this place, but also in terms of time. L'kol rega, to every moment, kol sha'ah, every hour, kol yom, every day, kol chodesh, every month, kol shana, every year, v'chol tkufa, every time frame, like a 10-year period or whatever it is. Tkufa is a few years. Yeshna avodat v'shlichut misiamet. Each one has its own specific service and avoda and reason, right? There's an intention for that moment and that time period. It has its own shlichus specifically. So that's like kind of why they're always connecting, right, to time and place. And the time, he talks about the different aspects of the time, how it's a day of the week, how it's a day of the month, right? Remember, he explained the whole sicha, how the days of the week allude to higher than the Hashem creates the world within the world. And hi, Sherry, welcome back.
That's right.
So he's connecting time. The Rebbe was connected his talk to what time we're in. He mentioned how, and each aspect of time is important. There's the time of the week that we're in. There's the time of the month that we're in. There's the time of the day that we're in. And then there's the time of, he would connect it also the year that we're in, or the month that we're in. And then even time frames or time periods, like he would sometimes say where it's been, like yesterday, it was mind-boggling. Yesterday was 280 years since the Hilula, the passing of the Dvar Malchus Pinchas. I didn't know this because I saw it on a WhatsApp when circling around. So whoever originated it, it's a mystery. They didn't put their name. Somebody asked if I wrote it. I didn't write that. Somebody else wrote it, and I just passed it on. So I'm announcing it just to make sure because I passed it to this group. But it said on top, forwarded many times, that yesterday was 280 years from the Or HaChaim HaKadosh Yotzai. And so if you go on the nourishment for the soul, right, WhatsApp that we have, anybody can join it. So I posted the story, which was a mind-boggling story, so I'm not going to tell you can go on there. It's worth taking the time to read that story that I forwarded. And something that wasn't said over there was mentioned was that Or Chaim he was originally from Morocco. He went to Israel to live there at a certain period of his life. And the Baal Shem Tov, it says, he was lived in Europe during that time of period of history. That the Baal Shem Tov wanted to travel to Israel, and he tried traveling to Israel, right? And he was physically, he couldn't make it there. He tried a number of times, and he couldn't actually get to Israel. But they say that he wanted to go to Israel because he had an intention to meet the Or Chaim HaKadosh, the holy rabbi from Morocco who made Aliyah to Israel. And he knew that when they would meet in Israel, they could affect such spiritual holy changes in the world that they could bring the true and complete redemption right then and right there. If they would meet together, if they would like combine forces of holiness. So that was, they say, was one of the reasons he really wanted to make there to Israel. But Or Chaim HaKadosh never, and Bais Chana never met, the Bais Chana never made it to Israel. But the Or Chaim HaKadosh did write a commentary on the Torah, very deep. And on his yard site, which is the 15th of Tammuz, yesterday, I posted on the Nourishment, I had a blessing, because many, many years ago, when I was very young, I was like 19, I got a blessing from the Rebbe on the 15th of Tammuz, right? And it was a group from Israel. The Rebbe couldn't see people individually that year. It was 1985. So we could come to the Rebbe as a group, and we could each give the Rebbe our note with our name on it, and then the Rebbe gave a collective blessing to everybody and a whole talk. It was like a whole hour talk.
Or Chaim yard site.
Or Chaim's yard site, yes, on the 15th of Tammuz. It was in honor of the Chag.
Who wanted to meet him in Israel?
The Baal Shem Tov wanted to move to Israel and meet Or Chaim in Israel, so that together they could join forces of holiness and bring Mashiach.
Okay.
So bring the true and complete redemption right then and there. But that didn't happen. But on the yard side of the Or Chaim, the 15th of Tammuz, many years ago, I was by the Rebbe, and the Rebbe gave a group Yehudis, a group talk to like people, the guests who came from Israel. So it was men, women, and children in one group for Yehudis. It was called we were able to go up to the Rebbe and give the Rebbe our note, hand it to him. And then he gave us a blessing. And exactly a year to that day, on the 15th of Tammuz, 1 year later, was the bris of my firstborn child, my son Yosef. So he just celebrated his bris again many years later. And two days before, like this past Sunday, his firstborn son, just started putting on tefillin. So that was very significant to me. I was like, wow, we're looking back and seeing the miracles unfolding. I had that miracle on the 15th of Av and 15th of Tammuz on the Or Chaim's Yotza. And then now people, because of WhatsApp, we got all these miracle stories now of the Or Chaim coming around. And another friend of mine sent a video of what's going on at the resting place of the Or Chaim on the Mount of Olives in Israel. They have a huge tent and hundreds of people coming on to pray on the tomb. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. This is insane. I never saw it. I remember seeing it when at the bris of my son, we were able to see we were in the old city, the Tzemach Tzedek Shul was the bris. And we were able to see from the place of the bris, the people going to the tomb of the Or Chaim on the Mount of Olives. Because you could see the people, black coats and everything coming to the tomb. So it was a nice group of people. We could see, oh, there it is. Those are the people going to Or Chaim's Oho. But it was a few, a small group of people. It wasn't a huge. Now it's like the whole mountain was like covered with people descending to his gravesite. So that was, and I remember having that thought when I was at the bris. I was saying, too bad I just had a bris. I can't go to the Or Chaim's. I had just given birth. I couldn't go to the.
Was the Tzemach in Israel?
The Tzemach Tzedek Shul. Reb Blazer Nanas was the sandak of my firstborn Yosef. Reb Blazer Nanas Alav Shalom, right? My teacher was 20 years in Siberia, right? And then the Amshon Rebbe did the blessings. The Amshon Rebbe in Beit Vagan. Have you heard of him? Mm-hmm. He's the leader of Shon of Chassidim. So my father was close to his grandfather. My father was his physician, his doctor. So I as a little girl, I used to get to go to the Amshinover Rebbe's grandfather, who was the previous Amshinover Rebbe, and be in his room with him, and he would give us little gifts, and he would talk to us. Because my father, I was a little girl, and he would take us along because he would go and take care of the Amshinover Rebbe, who was a very holy man from Poland, escaped the war through Shanghai and through Chicago, through San Francisco, and then Israel. So that's why the present Amshinover Rebbe speaks English.
But what I'm wondering is, the Tzemach Tzedek actually went to Israel?
Not the Tzemach Tzedek, the Amshinover Rebbe.
No, the shul you're in the old city.
It's founded by the Tzemach Tzedek, but the Tzemach Tzedek never went there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's called the Tzemach Tzedek shul, yeah. Yeah. So you could see the Har Zeisim, you can see the tomb of the Or Chaim from there. Yeah. So that's my memories of these holy places. But the Rebbe says, don't just think of the past, okay? How you were in a holy place in Yerushalayim on a holy day. This is now, the big miracle is now, seeing my son and his son, my grandson in Australia, Sydney, putting on tefillin, happily, proudly. And that's the miracle. That's the blessing. That's that it's continued, and it's thriving, and it's alive and well in all the way in Sydney, Australia. My grandson's proud to put on tefillin. I'm so ecstatic. This is like the biggest blessing, is to see that it's not just being holy and righteous or connected when you're in Israel, but when you're all the way in Sydney, Australia, far, far away from the holiness of the land of Israel, it's still right there. We can bring the holiness of tuning into Hashem and awareness and learning and mitzvahs, and make it into like Israel, make it into a holy place. So that's the biggest bracha. We should all have nachas from our kids, grandkids, and great grandkids, for those of you who are great grandmothers. Okay. Should we continue, or should we continue tomorrow?
What do you think? How much is left?
Well,
Let's continue a bit more.
Okay. Okay. So it talks about being in the time and place that we're in. It's very important. It was designed and right, destined by God for you to be here and now. And each moment and each time frame or time period has its specific significance and mission, shlichus. Okay, so each place and each moment has its significance, and it's every moment or every point of place and time that we're in has its shlichus, has its mission of each person in the world. We're talking about each one of us, not only observant people, or people we think have more knowledge. The Rebbe says each one of us has our own right, destined by God to be in this place and this time, and it's and this is a small portion. Okay, so even though like this moment in time, we could say is just a small moment, okay, and it's just a small place or whatever. It's maybe we could think is not so significant, right? This second is not, when you compare it to the whole world and all time and history. Why is this moment so important, right? Because it's just a small portion of the world and time. And a person, the Rebbe says, might think, well, maybe if I was in a different place or a different time, I could be doing things better. I could be serving God, in a better way. Maybe even better than it is now. Different and better. Okay, so this is right. So a person might think or say, right, this moment that I'm here, right here and now, in this time, not so holy, or not so as it could be better. So that's the Rebbe says. We could also even ask, my service is only in a small little corner of the world. Right, I'm so far away. I'm not near the holy city of Yerushalayim, near all the Jewish people. I'm isolated somewhere far. And what does it really matter what I do right here in this time, all the way out here? And a person could think, according to their own opinion, that maybe this has no connection or no influence on anything else in the world. What I do here in my little, corner of the earth, at this little second of moment in time, that doesn't really have any, a person can say it doesn't have any significance or any impact or any importance. It's not going to go viral. So what's it important? Who cares and who knows? So that's what a person could think. Okay, that it doesn't have an influence. A person can also ask, how can I be demanded by the Rebbe or by Hashem, by God, to bring the Geula, to bring the true and complete redemption, Geula Klalit B'Kol Ha'am, to bring a general redemption to the whole entire world? When my sphere of influence or my service is just in a very small place in the world in a very small moment in time, like how can this small moment in time affect Geula or redemption for the whole entire world? It doesn't necessarily, it seems like it doesn't make, like, can't happen, doesn't really seem to be real. The Rebbe says, we say to each and every Jewish person, you have an instruction from the leader of our generation. Make here the land of Israel. Your service is not supposed to be expressed by thinking about what's being done in the other end of the earth. And at a different time, like what was before, or something that's at a different time or a different purpose. No, we need to be shakua legamre, totally immersed completely with machshava, dibur, ma'aseh, thought, speech, and deed, v'asiyat kan Eretz Yisrael, making here, this moment, this time, Israel, the land of Israel. Mimkumcha pati, in your specific personal place, u'b'kol rega mismancha pati, every moment of your personal time. So we don't get time out. We don't get time out, and we don't get to hide and run away to the other end of the earth and say, leave me alone. Okay. Okay, so we're all significant. And that brings another point. It's specifically through each person, every moment and every place that they're in every part of the earth, of the world, and every time and place by each person, each individual, in their specific moments. So the Rebbe says it's like a hologram kind of concept. Your portion in the world includes in it everything in the world. Like every little aspect of creation includes in it all of creation. Like we know each soul includes all souls. Like especially if it's the leader of the generation includes all our souls. There's if the world is like a hologram, and we're all inter-included in each other in time, place, and soul. Okay. So he's not going into this in detail here, he's just mentioning it. So like he said, when they divided up the land and they gave every person and every tribe their own specific portion of the land, still, even though you got your own little plot, your own little area, it said each area of the land of Israel had all the malot, the advantages of all the other parts of the land of Israel. It was called the land of Israel in each and every area of the land. As it says, in general, it says about the land of Israel that God's eyes are upon the land of Israel from the beginning of the year until the end of the year. And the rabbis say about this, Israel does not lack in anything, is something the rabbis say. So meaning it has in it all aspects. The land of Israel has the mountain, has the valleys, it has the desert, it has the emek. So they were saying that not just on a physical level, but on a spiritual level, we're all interconnected. So every time and place that we're in, even if we're not in the land of Israel, or we're not in a good frame of mind, or we're not in the time space that we're feeling this is our height of our soul shining in its full glory. So even specifically those time and places, we need to remember that we're totally connected, both in time and in place, to the whole Jewish people on all levels of time and place and soul. So there's a connection that we can't erase that or dismiss that. There's another point that the Rebbe brings here. We understand from this also that every Jewish person needs to say, or it doesn't even say Jewish person, each and every person has to say, but the whole world was created for me. That's what it says. The world was created for me. That's from the Mishnah, and it says, since the whole was created for you, what does it mean? I move on. We understand where we're supposed to conclude from that. You have the power to affect the entire world. For you, in your own little private portion, you include within yourself the whole entire world. And he quotes another verse that says he put the whole world into their heart. So in our heart, in our space, and in our soul, we have in it all the souls of all the Jewish people included, and in our place, we have in it the whole world included. So it affects the whole entire world and everybody in it. And then he gives another point. If you could say, well, I can only really, my service of God, it's one-dimensional or limited in what I know and what I can do. So there it says, even if your service is only in one aspect, one stream, kav, one line of way of doing things, etc., he says, and like we see proven, gam yodim v'tzadikim shekvar simu shluchutam b'amadim, man shekol yisrael b'chazrakat pashut tzrichim lema shem chelkam al kol panim kimu b'shemut et shluchutam ba'olam af al pi shelo haya ze b'kol kadei avodah. Like we see that even people who, let's say, passed away and they finished a certain task and mission in this world, and you could say they didn't finish everything, they didn't, totally do everything in their lifetime. They accomplished only a certain amount of something in their lifetime. So there says, even then, each of every person really, when they're focused on their type of way they're serving God, it includes in it everything, all types of service. Like we say when we go to sleep at night, and we say in the bed night prayer, what do we say? Ben begilgul zeh, ben begilgul acher, whether it was this incarnation or whether it was a previous incarnation. We're taking account at night for, right, we forgive people, right, who maybe harmed us in this Gilgul, this incarnation, or in a previous incarnation. We say, I forgive, right, at night. And this, since the Rebbe says, since we're taking a real accounting at night, and it's true, we're not, we're not just saying things, we're really taking it to heart. So the Rebbe says, this is a proof that we're able to affect a previous incarnation. Okay? That's why we bring it in our prayers, and we can talk about it and take an accounting for a previous incarnation, say we forgive something that happened in a previous incarnation, which Rebbe says is a proof that we can fix a previous incarnation. So according to this, we understand that your service now is really not just what you're doing right now in this time frame of your life, of your soul in this body at this moment, but it's also includes in it all your previous incarnations, is all included in your service right now at this moment. You're affecting previous lifetimes. Isn't that interesting? I remember when I was going through a very hard period of my life, and I was going through a lot of suffering and pain, and I was thinking, okay, what did I do in a previous lifetime that made me have to go through what I'm going through now? Because I couldn't imagine like something that this would be like a punishment, God forbid, or it was a direct effect of something I had done during this lifetime. And I said, I was trying to imagine who I was in a previous lifetime, the stories that go around, that I deserved or got this kind of treatment. So it actually helped me get through that period. And I said, you know what? And I remember even telling my rabbi, That's it. I'm done. I suffered enough. I fixed everything in this lifetime and everything in the previous lifetimes. I'm done.
Oh man, that should be the case.
That's it. They were saying, right, we don't have to suffer to fix everything. We can just give everything and fix it without suffering. Okay. When we say we run from this, we understand. Each and every Jewish person, anything that will be his mission in this world, their mission in the world, man and woman. We have the power to make to make here everything into the land of Israel, and also to affect the entire world, not just ourselves. Even if a person is not, we're not talking about rabbis or holy people, a person who, or a scholar or a revered or an honorable, Jew that everybody knows about. No, the Rebbe says each and every one of us. If even a person who has a business and he's dealing with daily business, worldly things all the time, he's not even a gabbai or a caretaker of a synagogue, etc. A person can say, I'm not connected to the holiness of the land of Israel. That's not me. Wrong person, a person could say. The holiness is connected to those people who are connected to the synagogue, connected to the house of learning, etc., etc. Aside from this, so a person like this, the Rebbe says, aside from that, you could take part in being more involved with the synagogue or the learning. You could, even if you don't learn yourself, you could give money to the synagogue or whatever it is. You can help out, volunteer, whatever it is. Even your own personal service of God, for your own connection to God, whatever you do according to your power, your abilities, it includes in it, like we said before, like a hologram, all aspects of serving God, even if it's your own like specific strain of way of doing things, it includes it in everything, and includes of it the whole land of Israel. All the portions of the land, like we said, each portion included in it a wholeness of the rest of the land. Now the Rebbe says, therefore we can understand each of us, every one of us has the responsibility. The chayut, he says, chayut is responsibility. To bring the true and complete redemption to the whole world. Since we do our own little service in our own little, personal connection to God, we do it wholly and completely with thought, speech, and deed. Even in a specific place, in a specific moment, in a specific location. We have the power to transform this place in this moment to the land of Israel. And through this, to bring the Geula to the whole entire world. And the Rebbe puts exclamation mark, to bring the true and complete redemption to the entire world. But in simple words, when we're standing so close, mamish, really, to before the Geula, the complete redemption. We each and every us has to be training ourselves to get used to, accustomed to the Geula, to the redemption. And put ourselves to place ourselves, and latziv is to stand up, and place ourselves in a situation of regesh and a feeling and emotion of Geula, sensing the Geula. So we have to focus on Geula and sense it, put ourselves in that mindset. By transforming our day, our personal day, into Geula day, into a personal Geula day, a personal redemption day, to feel the redemption inside of us, to feel this today, right, is a Geula day, right, we bless each other, you have a Geula day. This day, we want to make it into a redemptive day within ourselves, that we sense it, we feel it. Transforming our personal place to the land of Israel, making it a holy place, right? So, through us doing our personal service of God at this moment, at this place, at this time, with its wholeness, in thought, speech, and deed. So I'm going to do the last two paragraphs tomorrow. Okay? Been a long time. I'm exhausted. Anybody else want to say something?
I have a
Yeah.
question.
Yes.
So it seems like right now this theme of each of us having these redemptive moments and connecting ourselves to Eretz Israel and the Geula Shalema, the complete redemption. So what, this is just like, I don't know, my mind is going so fast. What would be the phrase in Hebrew or in Yiddish for a redemptive day?
Well, we said Geula Dikadei, right?
So that would be like us making it English.
Oh,
Hand,
oh, you
like,
want English? Well, for English, you need Chavarachel.
no, that is English. I mean,
No, she calls
could talk that
Geula
way.
English. She calls Geula English.
Because we say it so much. I mean, you know, in the circles, we say it so much. So what would be the Hebrew phrase of a redemptive day? Like to bring it home that like it's today.
Why would you want to change it? It should ring bells and be said everywhere and always and all the time, and never get soft or never get weak.
Well, so the Rebbe's Sikha, right, said in Yiddish, right, and translated into Hebrew, and you're translating it to us in English, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that I missed the phrase. Like a lot of times I'll write down certain phrases so that I can go back and get the Lashon Kodesh energy from it.
Okay, so Geula is the word that the Rebbe uses both when he's saying it in Yiddish and in Hebrew, because it's a Hebrew word, but it's not, he doesn't translate it to Yiddish. He uses the original Hebrew word.
Okay.
When he said, yeah. So Geula. And then when we just say Geula Day, we're just using the Hebrew word also. But, and so it became so much part of our, I guess, jargon in our language that we don't translate it necessarily. But Geula Day is like, means a redemptive day. So it's like an inner redemption. Yeah.
All right. That's kind of like the clarity I was looking for.
Yeah, you're using the right word. And the Rebbe says that word has in it like the aleph, right? It's taking the exile into the redemptive state because it has the consciousness of God in it. So you mentioned that today, right?
Right. Yeah. That's great. Got it.
What the Rebbe is saying is that we have to live in Geula this second, and then it brings it to the whole world, that it's actually here, but we're the ones pulling it in.
Yes. We're making it within ourselves first, that consciousness. We're not waiting around for somebody to swoop us up and say, look at this miracle. We have to actually focus in on miracles, focus in on God making miracles, focus on our serving God in a more redemptive fashion of consciousness, being conscious of what's going on a deeper level, and that makes it happen. Yeah, that's the whole point that I was saying. We make it happen. We bring that consciousness to us. There could be tons of miracles we don't even notice. Did you notice there was lots of miracles going on in Israel this the last few days? I'm sure some of you have heard. So I went on one of the website, the Israeli website, and there's amazing, like tremendous miracles. I know it's the news will highlight certain tragedies that happen, but if you look deeper, there's also been tremendous amount of underground cells that were thwarted and discovered, and they basically took thousands and thousands of ammunition and rifles and bombs and all kinds of things that they confiscated. The army, including also, aside from weapons, also chemicals and money. Yeah, and
people, I think too, people to arrest also.
People what?
people, they captured people.
Yeah, right. They arrested, I think over 100 people. And you know, each person is also interrogations and, you know, laptops and cell phones and this and that. So apparently they were able to do it by surprise if they left behind their money and their cell phones and their laptops. So there's also a tremendous amount of information now gathered. And I think the miracle of this was they told America ahead of time they're going to do this operation, and so nobody really stopped them. Nobody, you know, twisted their arm and said, "Don't do it." You know, it was a necessary operation, and thank God, no soldier was hurt or harmed as far as we know. No soldier was killed in the operation.
One, unfortunately, yes,
He was
yesterday.
killed. One was killed.
Yesterday, yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear. Yeah. Yeah, they used training dogs. They've discovered all kinds of underground tunnels and all kinds of hideouts, and yeah, so that's a big miracle, you know, that they were able to do this and thwart a lot of loss of life on both sides, you know. You know, unfortunately, they uncovered that they're using civilians as shields because they're hiding all this ammunition and these terror cells underneath, you know, homes and in homes and underneath mosques. And so this is also like another way of being able to transform darkness into light and see miracles. God is helping us and protecting us from all these people. And yeah, there should be an end to evil in the world.
Amen.
Very quickly, very, very quickly.
Amen.
So,
And everyone should see that that's what it is. It's not, you know, how it's said sometimes in the news. Everyone should see that that's what it is. It should see it get uladically. There's another word.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
evil is being yeah.
Yes, my son said he was with his friend and a girl came up to them and was like upset. She had heard the news that Israel's being very violent and this and that, and they started talking to her. His friend started talking to this woman and said, "Excuse me," you know, I gave her a little bit of facts, and she was like, "Really? I'm going to call my father in Egypt and see what's going on." She called her father in Egypt, and he said, "Yeah, what Israel's doing is good. It's necessary."
Oh, yay! Good for your son again.
So he was with his friend. Yeah, he called her father in Egypt, and he says, "Yeah, it's fine." You know, it's like this is. Even the Arabs know that it's, you know, terrorists are terrorists and they don't want terrorists around. And I also saw a clip posted by an Arab in Israel of a terrorist being, you know, who had done an attack. He was captured and I think eliminated. And the Arab was like, good, like this Arab in Arabic and in Hebrew with an Arab accent was taking the video and saying, these terrible people who are just out to kill people, they should be gone. You know, the Arabs themselves, most of them don't want terrorists around, and they don't want violence, and they know that Israel is a good people and kind people, and they're just not highlighted in the news. But it's becoming more and more. So this Arab was doing PR advertisement for the Jewish people, and you see that more and more happening because they're instigating. And the more they see people are clueless or what's really going on, the more they come out and do the PR. So that's Mashiach times where
that our so-called enemies are helping us, and that other nations are helping.
Yes, and it's exactly what Rebbe said. Yeah, what?
What's really good about that too, what was I going to say? What's really good about that? Oh, they are very good at PR. So we want them on our side.
Yep.
True, that's true. Yes.
To the best.
It's true. It's interesting because a lot of us we assume that everybody has a brain in their head and can see facts and take logical conclusions.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Yeah, their brain is attached to their news feed and news feed. We need their PR for us.
Just I have a really big Mashiach miracle. My
Yes.
husband said there's a Israeli company, I think they teamed with some Russians and they've invented a flying car. Now that's totally Mashiachtic.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Yes.
I'd like that.
I'm waiting.
Yes.
But
Self-driving.
Chavrach, I wanted to tell you, I always also do my toiveling at the sea. And one time I was in Israel up north near Nahariya, and I went, I put down these pots, really, as someone else, I did a favor for somebody. I put they had just Choser B'Tshuva, put their pots way away from the waves. And someone told me that sometimes I don't believe this, but the waves are like hands and they'll take things. So all of a sudden, the waves came up and took the pots and they took them out into the sea. And I was thinking, oh no, this isn't even the woman who was with me. I thought, well, am I going to have to pay for her pots? And I've never had that happen ever. I've never.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But anyway, they came back eventually. And
Oh,
then
they
the next
did?
day, but it was kind of dangerous. I had to go into the water, try to get them. And then she begged me the next day to take Toivel a few more pots. And I put them further back, much further back while I was getting it myself ready. And it did the same things. And I had pictures
No.
floating. Yeah, I decided I'm never toiling for someone else again. It never happened to me except when I helped this person. I
Well,
couldn't
what
believe.
I do is I have a bag that's like very open. It's like a big net bag. And I make sure that it floats up. And so and I have a big handle on it, like 3, so it's held very tightly.
Like
So
a
that it
fish.
doesn't do that. And then I I see where the waves are, where it's wet, and then I go behind where it's wet. I don't know if that helps you, but that's
No,
amazing.
the waves came all the way up and took the pots.
Yeah, I
And
understand. Wow.
they're really far up. Like I've never seen a wave do anything like that before.
Wow. How long does it take to get it to come back?
I think at least a half an hour probably.
Oh my goodness, that's long.
I was davening to Hashem, please, these aren't mine,
Yeah,
Mm.
they have to have a rope on them, like sending somebody in the
No, but
basement.
I've been doing this for years.
Yeah, well, you did it
I
for
did the
years,
same-
but then this did it that day, so I
Well,
would
but
be
but I have
safe.
to tell you, this person also they were into like they were chosering b'tshuva, but they were into like tarot cards and stuff like that. I don't
Maybe they
know.
need to check their mezuzahs.
They didn't
They
have
can
mezuzah.
send it to my husband. Yes.
They didn't have
Yeah.
mezuzahs?
Oh,
No,
wow.
they were just starting to become religious.
Oh,
So
And they
anyway,
just
yes, tell
Okay.
them my husband can supply them with mezuzahs.
and then
Yeah,
their pots won't fly away.
yeah. It's interesting. I have a
I
friend.
wanted to cry.
I have a friend for since I'm 20 years old. And she recently, over the years, but even before I married my husband, this is over, I used to tell her, check your mezuzahs. And she's had them checked over the years. But not enough, I kept them, anytime something would happen to her, I'd check your mezuzahs. Anyway, when I got married, or even before I got married, when he just came to town and I told him this sofa is coming from Israel to meet me. Actually, I didn't tell her he's coming to meet me. I just said he's coming from Israel. Send me your mezuzahs. She did. 30 mezuzahs from Tennessee. She sent it.
Wow.
Yeah. And she put them back and she actually bought a few more. She was missing a few doors. And then she said the strangest thing happened a few months later, not right away, quite a few months later. So after we were married, all of a sudden, one of the mezuzahs fell out of the case. She put it up herself. So I don't know how she put it up, but she said it never happened to her before. One of the mezuzahs just fell out of the case. It was in the attic. So she didn't really notice. It was not a door they use, I guess, too much to go to the attic. But it fell out. And her husband did go into the attic. And the craziest thing happened. I'm telling you, I can send you her number. Her husband, while he was in the attic opened up. And he fell into the top floor of the home. Thank God he was fine. He was just bruised a lot and took him a while to recover, but nothing broken, nothing, no internal damage or anything really. just a lot of bruises and pain. But she said it was absolute nuts. That was the door of the attic where the mezuzah came out and was on the floor.
Wow, and it fell.
And he fell through the attic. It was just like insane.
The mezuzah fell and the attic fell. It's like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, you mean the ceiling broke? He
The
fell through the
ceiling
ceiling.
fell. He was walking in the attic, and it just it caved open, like just crushed or whatever. Just fell through into the next floor.
Wow.
Yeah, he's an attorney, and he was like, even he was saying, he's not like on the level of belief that she is, and he says, "You better get our mezuzahs changed before." Whatever. I don't want to repeat what he said, but he was like, he was like, definitely change mezuzahs. So that was interesting. But thank God they're fine. Thank God he's fine. This was a few months ago, so he's already recuperated. Yeah. 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 But I really recommend you read that story of the mezuzah story
Yeah.
that I posted yesterday.
Yeah, I saw it. I have to read it. I wanted to have concentration, but I was
You
in the
didn't read
middle
it?
of toiling and
You want me to tell it? You want me to tell it quickly?
Yeah, tell it.
Okay. Okay, so I don't know who wrote the story, because whoever wrote the WhatsApp didn't, but it has a lot of it has the name of the rabbi that he actually told it to later on. Bogomelsky or Boyarsky, I don't know. You could look in the WhatsApp. In any event, there's a story within a story within a story. So let me see where it starts. The mezuzah part of the story. I'll tell you the mezuzah part of the story. So there was this. And it's connected to the Or Chaim HaKadosh. He was not a Chabad Chassid. He was an observant man from Jerusalem. And when he was younger, he used to go once a week to the Or HaChaim's resting place and learn the Or HaChaim's explanation on the portion of the week, the Or Chaim HaKadosh. And Thursday nights he used to do that. And this is when he was younger, years ago. And at a certain point, it started becoming dangerous because it's a lot of Arabs live around there. Where he's buried, it's the Mount of Olives. And at one point, he was sitting there, I guess at night, at the cemetery. And all of a sudden, an Arab came behind him with a knife, a big machete. And he got scared, and he turned towards the grave, and he begged the holy rabbi, the Or Chaim, please save me. And he turned back to look at the Arab. The Arab was frozen in his place. And then the Arab not only was frozen, the second later started fleeing like he was fleeing for his life. Okay, so after he begged the tzaddik to help him, he froze and he ran away. So he started pursuing the Arab, running after him. He was a young man, chasing him out of the cemetery. And then he was so on adrenaline, he just ran all the way home. And he gets home and he tells his mother what happened. And his mother says, "I don't want you ever going back to the Mount of Olives again, ever." And he said, "No, Ma, please, this is like, look at the miracle." She couldn't. She said, "No, it's too scary for her." She said, and she threatened him, "If you continue going to the Mount of Olives, I am not, going to have a relationship with you." So this boy this young man was devastated. So he said, "Ma, let's make a deal. We'll ask the Lubavitcher Rebbe." They were not Lubavitchers. "And whatever the Lubavitcher Rebbe decides, I will, if he says I should listen to you, listen to you. If not, you allow me. Okay, whoever he decides is right." So she said, fine, because she knew she was right, which she was right. But the Lubavitcher Rebbe didn't say who's right or who's wrong. He didn't say, when they asked the Rebbe said, ask a rabbi who can determine Jewish law. Like it's a halachic, you need a halachic rabbinic opinion. It's not something to ask me, Now, so when this young man told the story and to the rabbi, he also told him, which he forgot to tell later on, was that the Rebbe also told him to check his mezuzah. Okay, so that was part of the answer. One is to ask a rabbi, and the other one is to check the mezuzah. Now, when they checked the mezuzah had 3 letters that were not kosher. One was ches, resh, and bais. Okay, 3. When you put the 2, 3 together, ches, resh, and bais, what does it spell? Cherev. Cherev is a sword. So he had a sword. He had a machete. He had a being threatening him. So anyway, they fixed the mezuzah, they asked a rabbi. What did the rabbi say? It was one of the chief rabbis of the Badatz in Israel years ago, Rabbi Weiss. He was also not a Chabad rabbi. And they came to him and they said, we asked the Rebbe said to ask, Lubavitcher Rebbe said to ask a rabbi for instruction, what's the right thing to do? So guess what? The rabbi, who's not Chabad, said, if the Lubavitcher Rebbe told you to ask a rabbi, it means he didn't want to answer he could have on his own just said, listen to your mother. That's the right thing to do. You don't go to the cemetery. If you wouldn't say that, which is kind of like an obvious thing, for a rabbi to say, right? Then it means that really the Rebbe does want you to be able to continue to go to the cemetery and learn at the Holy Orchaim's place. He doesn't want you to be stopped, but he wants you to have the extra power and strength of, aside from his own blessing the Rebbe gave and the mezuzah and everything, he wants you to have the power of a rabbi to give you a ruling of Torah that you're allowed to do it. Okay, so when you have a ruling that you're allowed to do it, because sometimes if you're putting yourself in danger or if you're going, against something that's normally acceptable, you do need an authority to say this is okay and it's the right thing to do. If you don't, it's probably better not to. So that the rabbi understood that. He understood that if he gives a halachic ruling, a legal ruling, Torah law from a rabbi saying you're allowed to do it, it would give him the power and the strength to be able to withstand any possible hazards or dangers. And that's what he did, and he gave him that blessing. And he gave him the ruling, and he continued going. So now the person who this rabbi was told this story to, the rabbi who got the story from this young man, who's not a Chabad young man who told the story, he said, why, Chabad rabbi asked him, is in Melbourne, rabbi in Melbourne, said, why did you to begin with tell your mother, I'm going to ask the Lubavitcher Rebbe? You're not a Chabad a pupil, right, or a student, you don't have connection to Chabad. What made you come to the Lubavitcher Rebbe to be the decisive power between you and your mother, right? The deciding rabbi in the feud or whatever, this disagreement. So he said, because many years before, him and his wife, not many years before, he was a young man still. Him and his wife, when they got married, they had a child that was very ill, and this child, they took him to lots of doctors and lots of rabbis and tried to get blessings for the recovery. There was nothing being done to help this child. So one of the rabbis that they approached was the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and they wrote to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe's answer was, what was his answer? It was to speak to a doctor who is an expert in that field of the baby's problem, and the doctor should be a Yehudit, should be a friend. Yehudit means friend, which is an answer that many times the Rebbe would say, go to a second opinion, a doctor who's a friend. So this young man in Israel didn't have any specialist doctors in that field that were his friend. He said, how am I going to do this? So he said, okay, at least I'll go to a specialist in the field. So he went to one more doctor, specialist in the field, and makes an appointment, gets there with the baby, there's a wife, and the doctor greets them at the door, and he says, welcome, my Yehudit, welcome, my friend. And he was shocked. And he kind of taken aback. Anyway, they did the appointment, he got his diagnosis, he gave him his prescription for the child, and then this young father of the child said to the doctor, please tell me, why did you greet me so warmly? Why did you call me my friend when I came in the door? And he said, I don't know. He says, I don't normally greet people this way. The doctor said, but I had such a warm feeling when you entered the room that you were my friend, that I greeted you that way. It was like an instinctual thing. So this boy or whatever, young man said to him, before I came to you, the reason I came to you was because the Rebbe, Lubavitcher Rebbe, told me to find a doctor who's an expert in the field and a friend. And so that's why I came to you. So when you called me my friend, I was like, it was chilling. So the doctor was also very excited. And he says, okay, I'm not charging you for this visit. And he saw him through, to the end to make sure everything worked and the child was better. So that's why he had that miracle before. So then when he had that problem with his mother, he said, let's ask the Rebbe. He could see things better. And that brought him to the next thing with the mezuzah, which the Rebbe said to check and it needed switching in the letters of sword. So this is the story.
So how was the mother? Did she accept that?
Yeah, she agreed to it. Yeah.
Yes, great.
Yeah, and I guess nothing else happened after that.
Wow, thanks for telling
Yeah,
it.
it was very
It's fun
heartwarming.
being told.
What?
It's fun being told, you know, you can read
Yeah.
it, but it's nice to
And
be told.
And it was very heartwarming to actually see all the pilgrimage of thousands of, I don't know how many people, hundreds or thousands, I couldn't tell from this short video clip, in the Mount of Olives just this week for the Or Chaim's Yotzai yesterday. Because I remember going to the Mount of Olives to visit Rebbe Zemanis. My teacher was buried there. And it was quite scary. I went there quite a few years ago. And like we were the only Jews there, it was all Arabs, and it was a little like eerie. Didn't feel so like, it felt a little like we better better watch our back. So to see all these people around there, the masses, it was very nice. Yeah. Yeah. We shall be together alive in bodies, well and healthy, celebrating.
Amen. We
Yeah.
should not go through resurrection. We should stay alive.
Yes. Amen. Amen. Eternal life forever.
Yes.
Good.
Amen.
So it was
Thank you
nice to
so
have a
much.
Linda Glickman. I don't know who you are. There was have Sherry, new. Linda's new and Sherry's new, and there was another woman, N. I don't know who N was. I think she left already. But if anybody knows who she is,
We tried.
you
She didn't
try.
answer
Oh,
at the
she's
moment. At the moment.
Okay.
I'm a cousin of one of you, the attendees.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome.
Oh.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful.
And thank you. And you can always join on there's a WhatsApp for Nechamadina for this group. It's called Nourishment for the Soul. I post the recording of today and my other classes I post on YouTube. It's a Bais Chana channel, Bais Chana, and I think it's 5291 is the Bais Chana 5291, Bais Chana BAISCHANA, and it has a picture of me from like 5 years ago on the icon, so you can search for that and subscribe if you want. And I also have, you can contact me. I have a website, baschanaca.weebly.com. Bais Chana CA for California, and it's at weebly.com. So .weebly.com, which I have to change one day when I get around to it. Okay. So thank you for joining. Take care. Be well.
Thank you. Be well. Thank you.